Hey everybody and welcome to this video. In this video we are going to discuss about cell. Okay. So when we are listening the word cell, in our mind various types of words are came. The cell we are naming as SAIL cell, SELL cell, SAIL cell. Okay. Then CELL cell, SHELL cell and various type of cell. So out of these cells, with these term cells we are already known. You already known this type of cells. So these cells are nothing are not in our topic. Our topic is CELL cell. This is the biological cell. Another biological cell is also there, SHELL cell. It is the outer layer of a mollusca, but our topic today is cell, CELL cell. So what is this cell we are going to discuss? See, cell, just like in physics and chemistry, you know, in physics and chemistry there is a term atom. You know the term what is atom. Atom is just like the smallest unit of a particle. Atom is the smallest unit. It is the smallest unit of matter. You know this one. Okay. Atom is the smallest unit of atom. So atom is the smallest unit of matter. Various atoms combine together to form a molecule. Various molecules together combine to form a matter. No. So this much you know. Like that, in biology there is another term, cell. Just like in physics and chemistry atom, in biology cell is just like atom, where various cells or a group of cells together constitute tissue. A group of tissue together constitute a single organ, and a group of organ and various organs together constitute an organism. See, this one is an organism. Plants, animals, these are all organisms. Organisms are made up of several organs. In plants, leaf, stem, root. In animals also hand, internal organ, external organ, etc. These organs are made up of various type of tissues. Okay, various types of tissues. These tissues are made up of a single tissue is made up of a group of cell. This is a single cell. So cell is the basic unit of life. So what is cell? Cell is the basic unit of life. That means cell is the primary necessity, to build up an organism. Okay, cell is the basic necessity to build up an organism. That's why, just like to build up an house, imagine or compare cell with your house or home. Just like in a house, to build up an house, the primary necessity are cements, your sand, water, bricks, etc. Just like that, to build up an organism, cell is the primary necessity. That's why cell is also known as structural unit of life. Cell is also known as structural unit of life, because cell is the primary necessity to build up an organism. That's why cell is known as the structural unit of life. Okay, cell provides the basic structure to an organism. Apart from giving the basic structure, all functions of an organism, all physiological functions or all physiochemical functions, or all functions or metabolic functions of an organism, just like in plants, photosynthesis, transpiration, respiration, excretion. In animals also, excretion, reproduction, your food digestion, absorption of energy, all functions of an organism occurs inside the cell. That means, like in your house, we do all our activities, sleeping, eating, our watching TV, entertainment, everything we are doing inside our house. Inside our house we are feeling comfortable to do anything. That means all our activities, so that Just like our house provide us a particular environment to do all our activities, like that inside an organism, cell provides a particular environment, particular temperature, particular pH to making or for all your activities of an organism. So because cell provides a particular environment, a particular area for all activities of performing inside an organism, that's why cell is also known as not only structural unit of life but also functional unit of life. Okay, cell is also known as functional unit of life, LIFE. Okay, getting my point? Why cell is called functional unit of life? Because all metabolic activities, all physiochemical activities of an organism, whether that is a plant or animal, occurs inside the cell. Cell provides a basic area, a particular environment, a particular temperature and pH for all metabolic activities of an to get functional of an organism. That's why cell is known as the functional unit of life. Okay, then comes your discovery of cell. Okay, discovery or something about history. So how this cell was discovered? See, there was a scientist. The first scientist whose name came in cell was Robert Hooke. So Robert Hooke was the first scientist who observed cell. He discovered his own microscope. In his own microscope, he caught a slice of cork cell. Cork is the layer from Eukaryotic suber. A cork excreted from a plant, Eukaryotic suber. Okay, from that Eukaryotic suber plant, your cork is prepared. So from there he get a slice of cork and observed in the microscope discovered by himself. So he observed some house or honeycomb like structures. Okay, HONEYCOMB, honeycomb like structures. These honeycomb like structures are named by Robert Hooke as cell. Okay, so this thing is occurs in your year around 1665. Okay, around this year 1665, Robert Hooke discovered your first scientist to observe cell, which is a dead cell. Okay, this cork cell is a dead cell. So Robert Hooke was the first scientist to observe cell, which is a dead cell and dead cork cell. He observed some honeycomb like structure or some small house like structures which he observed in their church. So he named them as cell. So generally the literal meaning of cell is small house like structure. So Robert Hooke named those small house like structure, those honeycomb like structure which observed by himself under the microscope he developed, as cell. He named these honeycomb like structure as cell. So this was the things occurs happening around 1665. Then the second scientist's name which is come was Anton van Leeuwenhoek. LEUWENHOEK. Anton van Leeuwenhoek. So Anton van Leeuwenhoek was the second person who observed the cell, that is the living cell. Okay, Anton van Leeuwenhoek was the first person to observe living cell. That means Anton van Leeuwenhoek was the second person to observe cell, but Anton van Leeuwenhoek observed living cell. What he does, he also discovered his own microscope. Under his own microscope, he observed a drop of pond water. Okay, he observed a drop of pond water, and in that pond water he observed some small movable structures or some movable creatures, and those movable small little animals, small little organisms are named as animalculae by himself. So the meaning of animalculae is in English is small living organisms. So Anton van Leeuwenhoek was the first person to observe living cell. Under the microscope he discovered own. He observed those living cell from a drop of pond water, and those living cells are nothing but your spermatozoa, protozoa, bacteria, etc., etc. So Anton van Leeuwenhoek was the first person to observe living cell. This is very important for your short questions. Okay, Robert Hooke was the first person to observe cell, so that he observed dead cell. But who was the first person to observe living cell? Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Then in this course, the third scientist's name which is come is Doherty. Dougherty. Okay, Doherty was the scientist who classify these cells in two types. One he classify as prokaryotic cell, another is eukaryotic cell. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so Doherty was the third scientist's name came in this course. Doherty classified the cell in two types. One is prokaryotic cell, another is eukaryotic cell. These things happens around your in a years around your 1957. Okay, these things around 1665. Your and Leeuwenhoek things around things happens around your 1680 some 85 or something. Okay, so this is the thing. So Doherty classify cells in two types. One is prokaryotic cell, another is eukaryotic cell. So what is the meaning of prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell? We are going to study. So pro means early. Okay, see, your pro means early and eu means new, and karyotic comes from a word Latin language karyon, which means your nucleus. Okay, so prokaryotic means the cell which carry early type of nucleus is called prokaryotic cell, and the cell which carry new type of nucleus is known as eukaryotic cell. So what does this early type of nucleus and new type of nucleus means? See, in some cells nucleus is not surrounded by any nuclear membrane or any extra layer, and that nucleus is directly present in the cytoplasm. But in some other cells, nucleus is surrounded by an extra outer layer which is known as nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope or your karyotheca. This detailed study of nucleus is discussed in another video in structure and function of nucleus. So the thing is that in eukaryotic cell, the nucleus is surrounded by an envelope, that is nuclear membrane, but this nuclear membrane is absent in the nucleus of prokaryotic cell. So this is the main difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. So what is prokaryotic cell? The cell whose nucleus is surrounded by nuclear membrane is known as prokaryotic cell, and the cell whose nucleus is not surrounded by nuclear membrane is known as prokaryotic cell, and the cell whose nucleus is surrounded by nuclear membrane is known as eukaryotic cell. Apart from this nuclear membrane, another cell or nuclear things, that is nucleolus, is present in eukaryotic cell, which is generally absent in your prokaryotic cell. Okay, but the major difference is this nuclear membrane, presence and absence of nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane is absent in the nucleus of prokaryotic cell, and nuclear membrane is present in the nucleus of eukaryotic cell. So we are going to discuss about this prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell difference detail in the next page. Okay, because this page is filled. Okay, so here you are going to discuss about a brief difference between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell, a little difference. So we know, till now we know that in prokaryotic cell nuclear membrane is absent. Write in complete sentence, nuclear membrane is absent in prokaryotic cell. In eukaryotic cell nuclear membrane is present. In eukaryotic cell another things, that is another part of nucleus, that is nucleolus is absent. In eukaryotic cell this nucleolus is present. Then another thing is that nuclear part, that is the DNA does not associated with histone protein. DNA does not associated with histone protein, but here DNA is associated with histone protein. Here DNA does not associated with histone protein. You know what is histone protein? Histone protein is a octamer which is act like a positively charged. DNA is negatively charged. DNA present surrounding this histone protein in the chromatin thread in your chromosome. So that's why DNA does not associated with histone protein. Histone protein is not present in the DNA of prokaryotic cell, but it is associated with the eukaryotic cell. Then in prokaryotic cell, another point is gene is generally continuous. Gene is continuous. Gene is continuous generally in prokaryotic cell, but in eukaryotic cell gene is generally discontinuous. Gene is generally discontinuous. That means your non-functional part and functional parts are present alternative to each other. This non-functional part is known as your intron and functional part is known as your exon. Okay, so gene of eukaryotic cell is generally your discontinuous, present in discontinuous manner, that is functional part and non-functional part both are present. Functional part is called exon and non-functional part is called your intron. Then another difference, generally cell organelles like your mitochondria, chloroplast, Golgi body, etc., are generally absent in the prokaryotic cell and these are generally present in the eukaryotic cell. Then another difference is your ribosome. Ribosome is generally 70S type in prokaryotic cell. In eukaryotic cell this ribosome is generally 80S type. Okay, then another type, cell wall. Cell wall is the outer layer, so we may first discuss about it. So cell wall is generally present. Cell wall is generally present in prokaryotic cell because we know bacteria is a prokaryotic cell which have cell wall, and this cell wall of prokaryotic cell is generally made up of muramic acid, or it is also known as peptidoglycan. But in eukaryotic cell wall is present in plant cell only, which is made up of generally cellulose, but in animal cell this cell wall is absent. Okay, then another point, your cell wall finished, cell organelle finished, then cytoskeleton. Another point is your cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton is generally absent in prokaryote, but the cytoskeleton is present in your eukaryotic cells. Cytoskeleton is another type of cell organelle. It is generally three types: microfilaments, intermediate filaments, microtubules, etc. We discussed earlier, discussed about these things also. So next comes about their size. Prokaryotic cell are generally small as compared to the eukaryotic cell. These are generally small as compared to eukaryotic cell, but these eukaryotic cells are generally larger as compared to your prokaryotic cell. Okay, so these are some differences. Then another point, you may write your example: bacteria, archaebacteria, mycoplasma, etc. In eukaryotic cell example, you can give your examples like your plant cell and animal cell, etc. Okay, so these are some general difference between your prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Okay, then the next things come. The next thing is cell theory. The next topic is our cell theory. So what is this cell theory? This cell theory was, after the discovery of a cell, it took almost 150 to 180 years to formulate this cell theory. Okay, within this period biologists developed better microscope, that is your electron microscope. After discovery of electron microscope by Knoll and Ruska, okay, this one is also a important short question. Electron microscope was discovered by whom? Electron microscope was discovered by Knoll and Ruska, two scientists. So after discovery of this electron microscope, further study about cell happens, and in this course of time there are two scientists name came. One scientist was from Germany, from German botanist, that is one scientist from Germany. He is German botanist. He is M.J. Schleiden, S-C-H-L-E-I-D-E-N, M.J. Schleiden. So a German botanist M.J. Schleiden says that all plants are made up of cell. All plants are made up of cell. Okay. So there is a scientist, German botanist M.J. Schleiden, around your year generally 1838. He says that all plants are made up of cell. So in this time period, another German scientist, his name is Schwann, T. Schwann, S-C-H-W-A-N-N. And T Swan says that all animals are also made up of cells. So this is your year around generally 1839. Okay, so one German scientist botanist says that M.J. Sliden says that all plants are made up of cells. Then Swan says that all animals are made up of cells. So Sliden and Swan combine their statement to formulate the cell theory. Okay, so what are the postulates of cell theory then? So who states this cell theory? Sliden and Swan together postulates this cell theory, and according to this Sliden and Swan, the cell theory says that the first point of cell theory was the cell is the fundamental unit of life. FUNDAMENTL. The cell is the fundamental unit of life. That means the cell is the fundamental unit of life. That means all living cells, either plants or animals, all living cells are made up of cells. Okay, the first point. Then the second point, life does not exist in the unit smaller than cell. Life does not exist in the unit smaller than cell. Life does not exist in the unit smaller than cell. So as we discussed earlier, cell is the structural and functional unit of life. So if we break the cell, then we will get cell organelles, but these cell organelles are non-functional if they are present or if we remove them from a cell, because cell provides a particular area. That's why cell is the primary necessity to build up an organism. That's why cell is the simplest things which required for an organism. That's why it was says that life does not exist in the unit smaller than cell. A animal may be a unicellular organism, may be a multicellular organism, but cell is required to build up an organism. That's why life does not exist in the unit smaller than cell. After these two statements, another scientist came whose name was Rudolf Virchow. Okay, RUDOLPH. Rudolf Virchow, VIRCHOW. Rudolf Virchow asked a question that how a cell come from. So answering this question, how a cell arise or how a cell comes from, to answering these questions, Rudolf Virchow answered this question as omnis cellula e cellula. In his native language, he answered this question that how a cell arise, that omnis, OMNIS, omnis cellula e cellula. That means in English it's if you translate this into English, then it will look like that cell arise from a pre-existing cell. That means this is the third postulate of the cell theory, that is all cells arise from their pre-existing pre-existing cells. Okay, so when a single cell divides, they form new cells. Okay, so Rudolf Virchow was a scientist who asked a question that how a cell arises, from where a cell comes from. To answering his own question, he answered that omnis cellula e cellula. That means if you translate this into English, then this meaning will be all cells arise from their pre-existing cell. The cell who is present, that cell divides to form these new cells. Okay, so these are the three main postulates of cell theory. That is, the cell is the fundamental unit of life. Life does not exist in the unit smaller than cell, and all cells, here you write all. Okay, all cells arise from their pre-existing cells. So this is the basic things about cell we studied in this video, we discussed in this video. So I hope you all getting my points. I hope you all understood these things. In the next video we will discuss further things. So I hope your doubt will be cleared. So subscribe this channel, stay connect with us, do share this video with your friends and needy students so that they will also get benefited. So thank you for everyone for watching. Thank you students for your valuable time. I hope you will getting some points from this video. So see you all in next video with some other topic. So thank you students, and thank you everyone for watching.